A zoo is accused of allowing their gorilla to escape, but they claim they don't have a gorilla. A woman admits to trying to sell human toes that were regurgitated by dogs, and a Los Angeles man is awarded $50 million after getting burned by hot Starbucks tea. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast, hosted by a young gentleman in a closet. A zoo is accused of allowing their gorilla to escape. They claim they don't have any of those gorillas. Sounds fishy to me. That's exactly what a zoo that lost a gorilla would say, right? We don't have gorillas anymore, but we do have a gorilla enclosure with some broken doors, and there's a couple of missing e-scooters. That's probably just a coincidence. The zoo released a statement from Dr. Brady, who is head of their "We Don't Have No Stinking Primates" department. Dr. Brady said, "Gorillas? We don't have no stinking gorillas." Now it says here, social media lit up this week over reports of a gorilla sighting. There were multiple reports of a gorilla on the loose following a power outage in Norfolk, Virginia, near the Virginia Zoo, apparently. But all of the animals are accounted for, according to the zoo, and they don't even have gorillas, as I mentioned earlier. The Virginia Zoo put the rumors to rest, actually joking that these sightings of an animal were likely their facility's mascot, the Zoo Squatch. Here's a quote from the zoo. They said, "We heard talk of an escaped gorilla, guys, but we think it may have just been Zoo Squatch spotted on his daily run. But don't worry, he has made it back to the zoo, and our keepers want you to know that all of our animals are safe and accounted for, except for gorillas, because we don't have any of those." And that was followed by a nefarious laugh that went, Now, zoo officials also mentioned that any real escape of an animal would have been accompanied by a swift statement from zoo officials. Just a friendly reminder, while those hoaxes can be silly, you can rest assured that the Virginia Zoo has extensive safety measures and protocols in place to keep our animals and communities safe. Should there ever be a real animal escape from our facility, a formal statement will be issued by our spokesperson to all local media, as well as on our social media and website for the safety of our neighbors. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd be made aware if there was escaped animals from a zoo. It's you hear it on the news often. We got a giraffe running down the street. Maybe not a giraffe, but it's all those monkeys escaped from Monkey Island recently. Remember that? I covered that story. Monkey Island. I mean, I don't know what these people in Norfolk were seeing on the night of the power outage, but I mean, they're probably on some very powerful hallucinogenics. I mean, you got to take a lot of chemicals to think that you just saw a gorilla run down the street. I mean, it's the same thing that makes people think they see Sasquatch all the time. Drugs. And, I mean, thankfully, there's no gorillas on the loose because, I mean, imagine what that would do to the banana prices. I mean, I'm already paying too much for eggs. I don't want my bananas to be $3 each as well. If you happen to be an escaped gorilla and you're listening to this podcast, there's job opportunities right now for you out there. Just head over to Washington. There's this committee called Doge, and they're hiring all kinds of monkeys. A woman admitted to trying to sell human toes that were regurgitated by dogs. And that's enough internet today for Pod Daddy, folks. I think I can just wrap this up. Can you believe this title is real? A woman admits to trying to sell human toes regurgitated by dogs. An Australian lady narrowly avoided jail last week over her plans to sell on the black market 2 human toes that had been vomited by dogs at the animal shelter where she worked. Well, I mean, you got to respect the hustle, guys. This lady's a real toe-getter. Her name is Joanna Kathleen Kinman, age 48. She was not present at the animal shelter in Victoria when the 2 dogs vomited up the toes and other remains. This was in February. The dogs, which had been surrendered to the shelter, had eaten parts of their owner's body after he died of natural causes. The owner has not been publicly identified. This is getting a little morbid, guys. I'm so sorry. I should have warned you up top about the level of morbidity This story's turning it up to 11, it would seem. So an owner dies and the dog ate the owner's toes. Is that common? I mean, I expect the cats to eat the owner. You don't expect the dog to eat the owner. The dog's so loyal. Now, Kinman, who worked at this animal shelter, apparently, reportedly told the police she had retrieved the toes from a bin and taken them home, where she put them in a jar of formaldehyde. She appeared to believe that she could make as much as 400 Australian bucks by selling these toes online. So, I mean, today I learned the going rate for dog vomited toes. It's 400 Australian bucks. If you guys are paying 1,000 Australian bucks for your regurgitated toes, you are paying way too much. Come on down to Al's Dog's Regurgitated Toes, where we keep the price on regurgitated toes low, low, low. And we don't have just toes, guys. Come on down and get yourself a regurgitated elbow part or a tongue. We got plenty of pinkies. How about a regurgitated organ? Who likes hair regurgitated by a dog? Come on down to Al's Regurgitated Dog Parts. Human parts regurgitated by a dog, I mean. That was my creation on the fly of a commercial. So sorry. All right, let's get back in here and find out what penalties this woman is going to have to face. She's not going to jail, but I assume there's a fine. What law is this breaking? The Regurgitated Digit Act of 1860? When the police arrived at her home over an anonymous tip, this lady showed them other items she had been keeping, including an alligator claw, a bird skull, a guinea pig trotter, and her children's teeth. You weren't going to sell your children's teeth, lady, were you? What is she doing with all this stuff? Selling all the stuff? What do you get for a guinea pig trotter? I don't even know what that is. This lady's got a very strange Etsy account, is my guess. Prosecutors say she was an active member of a Facebook group called Bone Buddies, where specimens are bought, sold, and traded. All right, authorities, I think you can just go to Bone Buddies' Facebook page and find all the serial killers you need right there. Now, this lady pleaded guilty to offensive conduct, including human remains. She faces a maximum possible sentence of 2 years in prison over this. Oh, I'm sorry, she faced a maximum of 2 years in prison. However, the magistrate named Andrew sentenced her to 18 months non-custodial service, including 150 hours of community service. So I guess he just decided she is not a completely terrible person. She's just someone who makes some bad decisions. She's kind of like a Florida man. No indication here if she's going to keep her job at the animal shelter. I assume not. And I don't know what's going to become of her little side hustle, but that's probably going to go away. Definitely investigate that Facebook page. Anyone else, upon hearing these details, just reminded of that Big Lebowski situation with the toe? It's like a great line at the diner when Walter tells the dude, like, you want a toe, bro? I get you a toe. I get you a toe by 3 o'clock with nail polish. So funny. I think I might need to rewatch that.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's tax season, and we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it. Guaranteed. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
A jury awards a man $50 million after he was burned by hot tea from a Starbucks. A delivery driver was awarded this $50 million in a lawsuit after being seriously burned when a Starbucks drink spilled into his lap at a California drive-thru. And in related news, all of our drinks from Starbucks just went up 14 cents. Yay! This story reminds me of the, you guys recall the McDonald's lady that was burned by the coffee? Very famous case. She won millions as well, I believe, and was heavily and wrongfully ridiculed online for years, in my opinion anyways. Poor lady. She, lost her labia or something. It, burned off, I think. Imagine burning your labia off. That's not a good day. Let's find out what happened to this fella. I assume he has some serious damage. The county jury found for Michael Garcia, who underwent skin grafts and other procedures on his genitals. He almost lost his genitals as well, it sounds like. What is with the scalding hot drinks permanently damaging people's genitals? I guess it's because you put them on your lap. That's the first place you put them. So when they spill right on your lap. Hence, your genitals. Are we going to have to start wearing some sort of fireproof underwear when we go through the drive-thru? Anyways, it's a stupid idea, I know, but I'm just trying to solve problems, guys, I hate to see my people suffering. This guy underwent skin grafts on his genitals after a venti-sized tea drink spilled just after he called it in February of 2020. Wow, this lawsuit's been going on, or this court case has been going on forever. This poor man suffered permanent and life-changing disfigurement on his genitals, according to his attorneys. After a hospitalization and multiple skin grafts, Michael has lived for 5 years with this genital disfigurement, with pain, dysfunction, and psychological harm caused by the genital burning. All this damage was caused from burns from 3 venti-sized medicine ball hot teas that he was picking up. I never ordered a medicine ball. I don't order hot tea from any place like that because they just overcharge you. Tea costs nothing. You buy a box of tea at the dollar store. You have 25 bags of tea that cost you nothing. I would never order tea at a Starbucks for $4, whatever it costs for a hot tea. The off-menu item consists of, here's what he ordered: steamed lemonade, hot water, jade citrus mint green tea, peach tranquility tea, and honey, which internet users have hailed as a cure for cold symptoms. It sounds like a special concoction using steamed lemonade, which I've never heard of, but I would like to try that. Why make it so hot, though, Starbucks? That's my question. Starbucks offered $30 million to settle, but wanted confidentiality. They wanted to settle, but then this guy pushed it. And got more money, and Starbucks is obviously more displeased. This jury verdict is a critical step in holding Starbucks accountable for flagrant disrespect for customer safety and failure to accept responsibility, said this guy's attorney. We are proud of Michael for standing up for himself and having the courage to tell his story. Yeah, it is embarrassing, right, to tell the whole world that your genitals don't work anymore because of peach citrus tea. And why is it so hot, Starbucks? Why is everything so hot? You burn your coffee. You serve your tea at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. What are you doing? You know how many times I burnt the roof of my mouth, lips, and tongue on a Starbucks coffee? And I got nothing. I got nothing for it. And they continue to do it. The rare moments that I actually get a Starbucks coffee, which is usually at like an airport when there's no independent coffee shop available. I wish they would go away. I really do. I wish Starbucks would just disappear. My life wouldn't change one bit if all the Starbucks just went away today. Well, I mean, except that there'd be fewer bathrooms I could use out there in the world. That's the best part about Starbucks, in my opinion, is that not anything they serve under their roof. It's the fact that there's a bathroom in there. And sometimes on the road, it's the only bathroom that is available. Like when a large swath of the population only drop into your place of business to pee or poo, you might want to think about your whole business model at this point. Like, have that meeting. Where's that meeting? Hey guys, we just want to let you know that we did a study, and 30% of the people that actually walked into our establishment just came in to poop. What is it that we're doing incorrectly? Could it be that we're charging $6.50 for a drip coffee that's burnt? Oh, no, it couldn't be that. Perhaps it's the $12 sandwiches that have been sitting there for 5 days. Or the 250-degree teas that we're serving people that then melt their testicles to their inner thigh. Maybe it's that. Burnt testicles? What are you talking about? I've heard of teabagging, but this takes it to a whole new level.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Hello, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. I appreciate you spending a little time with me today. Thank you. There's a billion podcasts out there in the podosphere, and you chose to listen to Weird AF News today, so I just want to let you know that I appreciate your time. It really is a battle for eyeballs and earballs out there in the digital world. So, I don't take you for granted. I'll keep this brief. I just want to give a quick thanks and praise to some generous individuals that support the show, like Pamela. Pamela M. just became a Patreon, right? Or a patron. She joined the Patreon. So that's pretty cool. So we want to give her some love. And when you join the Patreon like the amazing Pamela M. did, then you get extra weird AF content that I put into the Patreon. So it's pretty cool. And there's some really cool people that are members of the Patreon. So you get to be in, sort of like this little cool club of weirdos that enjoy the show. And I try and keep it updated all the time. Bonus episodes, whatnot. You can go to patreon.com/weirdafnews or weirdafnews.com and do as Pamela has done and join the Patreon. Super cool. Thank you, Pamela. Appreciate you. Also, big thanks to Josh G from Vegas, who I have met and hung out with. Wonderful. Met his brothers as well. And he bought me some coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com, where you can buy coffees for Jonesy. And then you can write a little note like Josh wrote, "Hey there, Jonesy. Hope you've been doing well. Really nice that you hung out with Jay Leno. Hey, thanks again for hanging out with me and my brothers that one time in Vegas. That meant a lot, and honestly, I can spend more time with you next time. Also, don't worry about aspiring to be the awesome guy like Jay Leno by hanging out freely with the fans and people. We can vouch that you already are, and that both of you are those awesome people to be with us. Have some coffees on us, and stay safe. Josh G and brothers from Vegas." So shout out to Josh and brothers. I will I'll let you know when I return to Vegas, which should be at some point I was going to come in the spring just to avoid summer. It's just a little too scorchingly hot in the summer, but I may end up there in the summer. But I'll give you a heads up, Josh. Anyways, appreciate Josh and brothers and Pam, listeners of the show that also are supporters of the show in a big way. So we appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. If you want to email me any sort of articles or stories from this week that you think are appropriate for the podcast, feel free to do so. My email is funnyjones@gmail.com. You can just send me an email and say hi as well. That's something you can do, and I typically respond. I also have an Instagram @funnyjones, and you can put stories and articles links in there as well if you want to use that to get me a story. I'd appreciate that. And if you want to call the show, the number is 646-450-2012. All right, I've kept you long enough. Take care.